A lot of people can lose weight. We all know that keeping it off is the real challenge, and having a proven eating system that means you don't have to rely on willpower is definitely extremely important. But for so many people, there's something a lot deeper going on, and that's about self-worth. Because if food was a way to numb a life that isn't really you, and your new health isn't connected to who you know and you believe that you can authentically be, you're always going to find your way back to what feels normal. Today, I'm talking with quantum healer Elizabeth Hyer-Rose, and she's going to walk us through how you can create real lasting change. Towards the end, she's going to guide us through an exercise that might just bring it all together for you.
Thanks for having me, John. This is going to be a fun conversation, I think.
It's going to be so much fun. Why don't we just jump right in, okay? So in my weight loss coaching practice, I stay pretty grounded in the physical and the behavioral realms. And when I'm starting to help someone make changes with their body weight, I use very simple physical-based practices like forming habits, like having someone agree to eat protein with every meal, and not just so that they're healthier, but so that they can honor themselves. Like in your work, Elizabeth, when someone comes to you wanting to make a lasting change, do you start with those kinds of basic physical world practices, or do you go straight into energetic healing and mindset reframing?
Well, I think there is such value in both of those approaches, and I think they work synergistically because if you're only working with the energy and you don't anchor it into your physical reality, it makes that real world change more challenging. The same time, if you don't make the mental, emotional, spiritual changes that then manifest in your physical reality, you won't create it either. So they really do work hand in hand.
100% agreed. So why don't you give us some examples of how you might actually help someone start to make a change?
So you open this by talking about weight loss. So let's look at something as complex, actually, as weight loss, because it is. It's not just a physical transformation, because you transform internally before you transform externally. So in order to make I'm going to eat protein every day, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to make these slow, steady habits, you have to start to rewire your being, rewire your mind. Where I start usually in something like that is looking at why I don't want something and why I do want something. What do I want? What am I doing to get what I want? What's in my way? Right.
Right.
And so that practice, if you will, of looking at ourselves, I want to lose 20 pounds. Why? So
Okay.
asking that very basic question is where we
I love it.
start. Even if you have the mindset you think of, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to do this. If you don't have your why
Yeah.
am I doing this? What is the motivating factor? And it
Yeah.
can be, I want to look better. I want to feel better. It doesn't have to be lofty. It doesn't have to be anything other than what is the truth for you. So when we begin to look at what is your truth, what is your why do I want to make this change, whatever that change is in my life, that's where it starts. Because when you understand for yourself what your truth is, what your authentic driver is, then, it makes it a lot easier because you have clarity. And then you can make choices based on what it is that you want, as opposed to making choices on what you think you're supposed to want, what you
Yeah.
think you're supposed
Yeah.
to do, how you think you're supposed to approach it. I'm supposed to be 20 pounds lighter. Are you?
That in itself is a great habit, right? That someone can just come into this and have the habit of continually asking themselves, what do I want? What don't I want? Because
Yeah.
I've noticed that part of that thing of keeping that weight off, it's two things. It's authenticity and it's understanding our inherent self-value. And so this seems like a good practice that would really open the door to understanding our authenticity. But how do you get somebody to that even more basic level of understanding their inherent value? How do we get there?
I'm really glad you brought up the inherent value because one's inherent value is the driver. So if you discover what it is that you want or don't want, because if you don't want something, what you want is underneath that, then what often sits with that is, do I deserve to have the thing that I want? This is a tricky one because we all deserve. We come into this life deserving. We move through this life deserving. We leave this life deserving. There is not a single human being, there is not a single being on the planet that does not deserve to have what it is that they want. What gets in our way is us.
So
The
how do you
ways
help someone get out of their own
that's
way
right.
then
So
so they
that's
can
that's really the ticket. Even if you're like sitting at the bottom of your perception, right? Somebody's perception was sitting at the bottom of the barrel of deserving. Even if you can move that needle just a little bit, that opens up a whole new world. There are some basic jumping off points that we can all use when we hit these roadblocks of deservability. One of the things I look at is, what's the payoff? What am I getting from this not feeling like I deserve? There is
That's big, isn't it?
often I don't have to be responsible. So what I mean by that is not responsible in my duties and obligations in my life, but a responsibility to recognize that I have the power within myself to change. So if you can begin to just change your mindset a little bit and go, oh, the power is within me, that changes how you inherently view yourself, from someone that doesn't deserve to someone that is deserving of their own authentic beingness. One of the easiest ways I find is to look at the simple but incredibly profound practice of gratitude. Gratitude is what I call a generating energy. A generating energy is something that when I have gratitude, I have more to be grateful for. When I have more to be grateful for, I have more to be grateful for. So it expands out. It generates more of that you have gratitude or love or whatever for, right? So when we
Yeah.
talk about gratitude in that way, to move someone, to move that needle a little bit into the deservability that allows for the physical habits to hold, or the changes they've made in their life to be sustainable long term, right? Because that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at, I can, drop 20 pounds, but how do I sustain that? How do I shift myself to be able to sustain that with ease?
Right.
So how gratitude or other generating energies can play into that is simple practices. They are mindset practices. I have a client that when she wakes up in the morning, before she opens her eyes, she says, "Thank you." She wakes up and starts her day with "thank you."
Right.
And it's the gratitude of living life. So to take that like one step further, to maybe have gratitude for being able to walk. Like, oh, I have gratitude for my legs. I have gratitude for my eyes, even though I wear glasses. Or I have gratitude, even if you can only walk for, a quarter of a mile. Oh, I have
Right.
gratitude that I can move my
Right.
feet. You find the things within your being that are working. You don't look at what's
So
not
much, yeah.
working. You look at what's working. And that can also translate into emotions that you may have gratitude for, the people in your life you have gratitude for. Perhaps you have gratitude for your bank account or your job or your spouse or your children or the blue sky or the trees.
And I also think it's interesting here that this is kind of where we're seeing physical world habit. Your mouth is saying thank you, but it's also going now into the mindset. You're saying thank you and you're realizing from the moment that you open your eyes that you have a lot to be grateful for. And that is also now translating into the fact that if you have stuff to be grateful for, somehow in our minds, just the way that we're wired, we must be worth something or we wouldn't
Right.
have things to be grateful for.
Yeah. And there may be some folks that go, well, I don't have anything to be grateful for. Yeah, you do. That's why we start with the fundamental. Oh, I opened my eyes. I'm grateful, right? The thank you, it's sort of you're giving a blessing to yourself. And that in and of itself is a motivator. And that in and of itself is enough. That starts the journey of I am enough and understanding even a very, very small amount of enoughness that translates to worth, that translates to deservability. All that is I'm allowing more love in my life. I'm allowing more love into myself. And when I do that, I do then more loving things. That is how gratitude works to expand all the things that then that person who had one little kernel, so they thought, and it changes the mindset. And then you can, from there, look at, well, what truly matters to me, which is, of course, what is my why? That feeds into the authenticity too, because what matters to you is different than what matters to me. And what matters to you is irrelevant for me,
Right. That's so
unless it's, of course, what matters to me.
right. It's so silly. Right. And that's wonderful, right? Because now that we're starting to understand what matters to us, and we're starting to see that we're deserving because we're grateful, and we've done this with simple habits that turn into mindset habits that are now starting to touch on our identity. So now that protein that I'm eating isn't about eating protein or just honoring my body. It's about the health that I want because it matters to me to be healthy for my kids or my spouse or whoever it matters to me, right?
Yeah.
It goes forward. And then there's that next level, which is kind of visualization. It's not quite energy work, but it's visualization, like sports players visualize before an event,
Right.
right? Okay, so why don't you talk a little bit about visualization, how that plays into creating lasting change?
Well, I think it's integral because what you're doing when you visualize like that is you are changing the energetic trajectory of where you're going, which then changes your mindset, which changes your habits, which changes your outcome. Right? So visualizing, so example for an athlete, visualizing the winning the game. When they seed and see themselves winning, that impacts how they respond in the physical reality. Maybe that makes them practice harder. Maybe that makes them look at their weak spots. And it's not because they are so focused on, how am I going to get there? It's because the image that they've created, the map they've created about where they're going, victory changes how they move through the now.
That's
It's
so
really
interesting.
that
Yeah.
fundamental, and quite frankly, it's really that easy because you then just allow yourself to navigate through it. And if you're sensing, I'm not feeling like that this visualization is giving me what I want, then you repeat it or you go in and go, okay, well, what's not quite working with that? Let me see what else I see. It's a very easy practice, not unlike thank you and then looking at gratitude in terms of anchoring deservability in our lives. But it's also a very easy practice to create what it is that you want. And so that brings us back to what matters. So if winning that game matters, or losing that 25 pounds or 20 pounds or 10 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever it is matters, for whatever that reason is, to anchor it, to visualize and anchor it, allows the how to happen. So you have your
That's so
why.
cool. Yeah.
It just
Say it.
then the how just sort of flows out of you and you don't have to do all of that torturous effort. It's not to say that we don't have to have goals and have support, like having a health coach or a life coach or whatever. Support systems are critical, but that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. This kind of stuff is what helps them drink.
And what I love about what you said is that the visualization changes your mindset because you've seen this new point. And because it changes your mindset, changes your action. So these are very concrete, real world based things as
Yeah,
that happen as a result. This is not, you know, woo spiritual stuff. Maybe there's a little bit in the visualization if someone's not used to doing that kind of thing. But besides that, what that's triggering are just real world mindsets, real world behaviors that are now leading you towards this thing that you saw.
exactly. So it really doesn't have to be wooey wah wah. It's really very grounded in shifting the mindset. There's tons and tons of studies about how our mind impacts everything. So changing your mindset in whatever way you can get there is key to making whatever change it is that we want. And when you visualize, even if it's for 10 seconds, I mean, I like doing it for longer, but I am wooey wah wah. And I really like meditation and visualization because I feel like, anchoring to something in the future really propels that change. But it can be anchoring to something, that's at the end of the week, or the player that anchors to the game that's that evening. They sit for 10 seconds, they get still, they see themselves winning. And even if they don't win, they've changed the dynamic in their being that puts them in much more alignment to winning.
But what you do something kind of beyond that. I want you to talk a little bit about building a container. So this next level, we see ourselves becoming something new. But then there's that level where we're building energetic space for this place that's new to live in so that it's big enough.
It's our image. You were talking about identity earlier. This practice is something I learned from one of my mentors, and it's changing the image that we have of ourselves. When you want to make a change, we sort of look at where we are and go, okay, well, this is the image that I have now. And then you move out to where it is that you want to be, and you change the image of yourself to be able to hold what it is that you want. So there's a lot of ways to get there. There's a very easy way, and it's actually, I think, going to be the nice anchor for us today with anchoring to our future. So you can expand your image, you can work with different aspects of yourself, but anchoring to the future. That's like that person that is visualizing winning the game, right? But anchoring to your future, the you that already has what you want, and allowing that resonance, that frequency to expand the container of what you will allow yourself to create in your life. That changes your now. We live in the present moment, and our future and our past. The moment that we have is the moment that we have. But changing the moment comes from anchoring to the future, even though
Fascinating.
it's the moment. When you can anchor to a future and allow the energy of that, the essence of that future into your present self, you expand what you are willing to create. So it changes the mind. And when you change your mind, it sort of goes back to all those small steps we were talking about. When you change your mind, you change your actions.
Yeah.
My perspective, it's like you start with the energy, man, or use the energy to work with what you're already doing in your physical, because then it's sustainable. And when it feels not sustainable, reach back out to that future and go, okay, what do I need now? That expands your energetic space to hold what it is that you want to create.
It's very interesting. I think I told you recently, I had a good moment that happened and it almost felt unbearable to me. And it made me also think of people that I've spoken with losing weight and they're doing so well and they backslide. And I think it must be a similar feeling of that it's almost unbearable how good it is. It doesn't fit in the world that in the container
Yeah.
that we have, and then the idea then of expanding that container that we see in the future so that our body, our energy can expand into that now so
Yeah.
that we can start to behave in that way that we already see in the future. It's very much kind of like Einstein. It's all, it's all happening. The past, the present, the future are all happening together. Time is relative. So it
That's
always
right.
comes back to these very scientifically based theories, which is really interesting. I think what would be really awesome to experience this kind of container visualization and expansion would be to have you guide us through this exercise that you guided me through and that I do quite a bit now, for anyone who wants to experience not just a visualization, but kind of a next level visualization of expanding your future energy to help you expand in your present moment. So that when you actually get to that weight loss that you want, that health that you want, it feels comfortable to you. It feels like
Yeah,
how you should be there. Were you open to
right.
doing that for us now? We talked about it.
Absolutely. Because you're expanding your container and this can be a jumping off point, because as I said when we started this conversation, it's an individual journey. So then how you use working with, future frequency, working with your future self, working with expanding your container, you may find your own way of doing it. But let's jump in and do it. It'll be super fun. It's very streamlined and very easy, and it's very short, which I like. I like giving people things that they can really, like, very easily do in very busy schedules. We don't wanna overcomplicate it because it's not that complicated, and I don't mean to trivialize the challenges that we all have because it's sometimes really, really hard to make those shifts, but anchoring this way and expanding the container is a really easy way to help yourself to figure out all that stuff. So let's just do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And at the end, we'll summarize everything that we learned because I know we went over a lot of stuff today. So if you're ready to make some real change, just relax, hang out. Elizabeth will walk us through this. And if you like it, it's definitely something you can repeat. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Well, as we're just sort of getting into this, for those of you that are doing it with us, just close your eyes and take a few deep grounding breaths. Settle into yourself. Inhale gently and allow yourself to exhale fully, letting yourself arrive within yourself. And as you continue to breathe deeply with your eyes closed, just imagine above your head a soft, luminous white light, like a beautiful, gentle sphere above your head. Subtle, pure. Now imagine this gentle, luminous light begin to flow in through your crown, through the top of your head. Let this light fill your mind. Let it move through to your throat. Begin to travel down your spine, through your heart. Allow it to fill your trunk. Move through all the organs in your body. Move into your hips, into your legs, down your thighs, into your knees, down your calves, into your feet. And now allow this soft white light to travel down into the earth. Just imagine it moving down deep into the earth. And feel yourself rooted, held, supported. You're grounded. And from this grounded place with this beautiful, soft, white, luminous light moving through your body, just become aware of any energy that feels dense or outdated. You may sense places in your body or your mind that feel heavy or that just you're drawn to. That's just stuff that needs to be released. You don't need to know what it is. You can just say silently to yourself, I release any frequency that constricts me or no longer serves who I am becoming. And with that gentle proclamation, let that which no longer serves you, that which is constricting in your being, let it rise from your body like smoke lifting off your skin. It's not forced, it's just your willingness to let go. Like your breath, you're just letting go. And as you let this go, your field, your body, your being, your mind begins to soften and expand. And in this space, think about something that you want to create in your life. It could be a way that you want to feel, like more peaceful, more joyous, more abundant. It could be changes you want to make in your body. It could be a new job or creating a loving partnership. Perhaps it's something that you want for the world, more harmony and peace, or something you're looking to create for someone you love. Whatever it is that you want in your life right now, allow that to form in your mind. See it clearly. And now, in this space of knowing what it is that you want to create, imagine this golden shimmer of sunlight light, golden yellow light surround you. You're bathed in a cocoon of golden light, wrapping you in safety, beauty, love. And from within this cocoon of safety and love, from within this cocoon of beautiful golden light, invite in a future version of yourself, your future self. That future that lives in alignment with what it is that you desire, what it is that you wanted to create. Allow them to come into you in clarity, radiance, success, peace, joy, and deep fulfillment. Fulfillment and happiness of what they have created in their life. Allow them to appear to you in whatever way is right for you. They could be a very clear image of yourself having this that you want. You may feel a presence or a knowing or a subtle shift in this beautiful light. There's no wrong way. It's you're calling forth yourself. Feel them draw close in whatever way, close enough that you can feel that frequency. You can feel their joy, their peace, their strength. You can feel their love, feel their light, feel their life. And now let them share that with you. They may share images, symbols, sounds, color. Perhaps they share thoughts and feelings of who they are and how they are in this reality. Just receive it in whatever way it comes to you. And now step forward and merge with this future self. Let their frequency fill you. Breathe it in. Let it flood your cells, your thoughts, your field. And as you're merging, as you're allowing this frequency to fill you, remember, this is you. This is your timeline already alive and waiting for you to accept. Perhaps place a hand on your heart and say silently, I remember this frequency. I am this frequency. Now feel that golden light brighten. Allow it to become more radiant, more alive, and it builds. It becomes brighter and brighter until it's nearly blinding. And then in a flash, it expands out like a burst of light. And your energy recalibrates. Your future frequency, the future you, that energy, that frequency is now fully integrated into you. It is you. It is in you because it is you. And now just take a moment and simply be in stillness, allowing this new resonance to settle into your body, your being, your now. Just breathe and receive and be. You've expanded your container. And so it is. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes and go about your day.
Wow. That was absolutely amazing, as it always is. And I think for anyone who stuck around and joined us, you're probably having a pretty wild experience yourself, that we could all just be sitting in these normal rooms that we all inhabit and kind of going to this other place. And I think it's wonderful to find out, for anyone who hasn't done that before, that that's available to all of us, that this is right there for us to enjoy. And it is a direct pathway, the highest level, for us to be able to allow that future version of ourselves, that one that I have seen thousands of times people meet and then reject because they hadn't made the space for it. And
Yeah.
we feel it. We feel it when the good things happen to us and we want to numb it. We want to run out and have a beer or eat a bunch of cake or do whatever it is that we like to do, or who knows what it is, but just not really embrace it as just something that we expect. We expect good things to happen to us. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. I think it's great. What you've shown us is that there are basic physical world habits like waking up in the morning and saying thank you. And that those habits can become mindset habits of, wow, I'm grateful for this world around me. And so I must have value if I have all these things that I'm grateful for, which can become now mindset, right? Our identity mindset in action. And that we can visualize that with basic visualizations. We don't know how to do energy work, but we can even go to that next level and explore energy work where we can expand this container of ourselves that we are aspiring to be. And if you want to know more about this work with Elizabeth,
My website is elizabethhyer-rose.com. Elizabeth, Elizabeth, Hyer, Hyer, Rose, Rose.com. And you can also find me on my YouTube channel. There's a few, I think there's 10 visualization ritual meditations on there. They're also on my website, and they're free. So you can just go check them out and have fun with it. And I will say just one more thing. All of
please.
this boils down to allowing a little more love into our lives. And when we do that, when we give that to ourselves, it spreads it a little bit more in the world. So if it's hard for you to feel like you deserve and you're giving it to yourself, think of it like, oh, well, I'm also giving it to the people I love and to my world.
I think that sums it up so well, right? It's all about love. Let's just have a little more love and share a little bit more of it. I'm John B. Datri. I'm the head coach at Fast Fit 40 Up. This is Metabolically Conscious. That was Elizabeth Hyer-Rose, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.